Hello and a very happy Vijay Dashmi and a happy Navaratri to all our viewers. Namaskaram, and it is my pleasure and honor to welcome Professor R. Vaidyanathan to our hangout today, a very important one. Professor RV, Namaskaram and welcome to PGurus channel, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir,
Thanks a lot.
viewers, we just crossed the 97,000 subscriber mark, 3,000 away from the magic 100,000, and we are on our march towards a million subscribers. It is possible. It is possible. It is doable. It's just that we need more of our channel's word being put out there. We request you to spread the word amongst your friends, relatives, and acquaintances about the objective videos that we bring out. We are not going to talk about sensationalism. You see only stuff, you only see substance, and it would be a thrill for Professor RV and I to see our effort bear fruit and have a serious channel where your time is well spent. Please do not forget to also donate to our channel, because we are completely dependent and reliant on your donations to keep this channel going. And also, I hope you're watching our 15-minute news capsule coming every day to you at 5:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Thank you very much. Professor RV, please take it away, sir. What are we going to talk about today and the significance of that?
Thank you very much. And Dasami greetings to all the viewers of PGurus channel, and also my blessings to all the youngsters. The topic which I think is today we are taking up is the need for more Hindu parties in India. India has got something like 100 crore approximately plus minus Hindus actually in the population of 125 or so crores. And we are not going to talk in terms of, having, when we say having more Hindu parties, we are not going to get into some debate whether the existing BJP is a Hindu party or not. General consensus is it is supposed to represent the Hindus, and hence it's a Hindu party, and there is only one actually. It's one of the political wings of RSS. Let's be very clear about it. Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, which was established in the 20s, has got a large number of wings in terms of youth, in terms of women, in terms of students, in terms of service, Adivasis, so many. Something like I have a hunch it could be as a 45 to 50 organizations actually. And BJP is one of the organizations in the political side. Actually, they appoint even a coordinator between the RSS and BJP in order to smoothen the creases or avoid the friction and everything. But I think you look at Europe, there are a lot of countries like Germany, for instance. There is a Christian Democratic Party, Christian Democratic Union of Joseph Strauss, which was very powerful in Bavaria. So across Europe, quite a number of political parties having Christian in their name. Even if they don't have, they are primarily considered as a Christian party, because they are very clear that the roots of the cultural and the civilizational development of Europe is in Christianity. And similarly, if you look at US, you have of course two broad parties called Democrat and Republican. But I think you will agree with me that both of them are essentially in terms of Christian parties. It's very difficult for either party to criticize Bible, or like somebody in Tamil Nadu say we will burn Manusmriti, and like that neither of the parties will be. They will not attack the church. There are so many other churches also, and as one of my American colleague jokingly told, either of them win, they have to take oath on the Bible, and it is supposed to have been the original, in which George Washington took his oath. That's what is claimed anyhow, or Abraham Lincoln anyhow. The point I want to stress is, in a country like India, where there are 100 crore of Hindu population, there may be need for more Hindu parties other than BJP. Immediately people say that no, no, it will split Hindu votes. There is nothing to split or anything. It can only add actually. Today, what is happening? Let's see the political spectrum. Congress is on decline. There is a severe crisis within the Congress. Many of the audience will be aware. 23 leaders of Congress wrote a open letter to its president about the problems and declining nature and other thing, and they don't seem to be taking any steps in that. Communists are no more major force, level or even a minor force in India. They are just in a small pocket in Kerala. That's all. They are ruling currently there. They have gone from Bengal, they have gone from Tripura and other states. And there is actually a debate whether they should be still recognized as major parties, in the sense national parties, or they should be treated as a regional state level parties. Be that as it may. In the 70s, there used to be large number of socialist parties. Socialist Party, Praja Socialist Party, Samyukta Socialist Party. You had Ram Manohar Logia, even Jayaprakash Narayan and various others. In a sense, actually, this Lalu Yadav and the Nitish Kumar are all the product of the socialist parties of the 70s. Even they are on the decline. For instance, in states like Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Rajasthan, they have completely gone. They have all become bipartisan, either Congress or BJP. All the socialist parties are gone. So there is a huge ferment in the political spectrum. What is happening is opposition space is increasingly being taken over by anarchist, leftist, as well as what you may loosely call the famous words of Rajiv Malhotra, breaking India forces. In many states, you find all these are grouping together in order to attack the government. And major issues, it's very difficult for the ruling party to take some decisive steps and other thing, given the fundamental nature of our politics. Bureaucracy is extraordinarily powerful, and good number of bureaucrats are left oriented. Let's be very clear about it. Similarly, the judicial system, and they seem to have a, I would rather call it a mythical thing called basic structure of Indian constitution. They have never defined it properly, but that is that. The third is the word secularism and socialism, inserted illegally by Indira Gandhi during emergency time, is still there in the constitution. So the state has got its limitation. You may get political power. I always used to say there are three types of saffrons: religious saffron, social and political saffron. I think any new party which is formed for the interest of Hindus, no compromise on religious saffron. It should be broadly for the Sanatan Dharma to protect and preserve it, another thing. On social issues, there could be some differences, and political issues. For instance, a major thing talk globally, all over the world, is global warming, environmental protection, and other thing. It's not required that different Hindu parties should take the identical line on this, because there are conflicting type of views and other thing. For instance, there was a agitation against metro rail having a shed in RA, the milk colony in Bombay, which was basically instigated by some of the NGOs, and a lot of these celebrities also went there and joined another. According to me, a genuine Hindu party should have taken up the cause, studied it thoroughly, looked at all the issues, and come out with some good recommendations actually. So environmental issues is one of the major areas where opposition is now getting frittered away with a lot of these anarchist and breaking India forces. Tamil Nadu, it is very rampant actually. Any type of industries you want to create, immediately a red flag is put there and say you cannot create an industry because it will do this, it will do that, including your sterilite agitation, and where they claimed it is spreading cancer. By their claim, at least half of the Sterlite employees should have already been afflicted by cancer. But the whole thing is so. According to me, the opposition space is getting frittered. In the sense, it is getting hijacked by lot of these elements, which are church supported as well as international NGO supported and local type of agencies. So there is a need to have a large Hindu party which can act as a pressure group against the ruling party. Even if both the parties win enough number of seats, they can what one can call collaborate with each other. Nothing wrong about it. Other issue is major Hindu party like for instance BJP. It cannot accommodate everyone in the current power structure. There is always a limitation. There is always a prime minister and some ministers and other, and some of these various other Niti Ayog and planning commission. But there are large number of aspirational youngsters who cannot wait for a long period of time. Today, what is happening is BJP is trying to expand on what I would rather call inorganic growth in terms of accommodating people from other political parties. It can be from DMK, it can be from JDU, JDS, it can be from RJD, it can be even from Mamata Party, TFC. So this inorganic growth, or what you may loosely call diversification, it gives rise to huge amount of problem for those who are inside the party for 20, 30 years and other thing, because they feel that they might be losing out in terms of the newcomers. So it is in a democratic system, every party member wants to have some gains, not necessarily monetary gains. It could be in terms of position, it could be in terms of recognition within the party or with the government. And it is not easy for a large party for BJP to accommodate all these people. Yeah.
Sir, question, sir. BJP you can think of as an offshoot of Janasangh, Bharatiya Janasangh, which I think got formed in the 1960s, if I'm right. So, by the time BJP formed a government, even a loose government like in the 1996 that lasted 13 days, it took a good 30 years for a new party to come from inception to power. And even that, they had the backing of an well established ideology like the RSS. So the new party, assume that it is an XYZ party, would that have to again come from the same fountain of RSS, or could it come from some other fountain of Hindutva? My question, sir. I
No,
don't know.
let's be very clear about one thing. RSS is the largest NGO in the
Right,
world,
right,
whole world,
right.
and not just in India. We are talking about the world, and it has, as I told you, some 45, 50 organizations. It is required for any political party which has to have the basis of Hindus as one of its core component to get the blessings of RSS. It's extremely important. Some people will say, no, it will divide the votes. It won't divide the votes. Why should it divide the votes? In the sense, all those people who are voting for RJD or TMC or DMK, they are not anti-Hindus. You cannot say that all these people are, all Hindus are going to vote for BJP. It will never come. There is always a regional aspiration, linguistic aspiration, and various other type of permutation combination. Now the current BJP is accommodative. It wants to accommodate, for instance, Muslims. It wants to accommodate Christians. It wants to accommodate. But this accommodative politics also, in the process, will dilute its core ideology. That's very, very important. Any accommodative politics will do that. It will dial. There is no what you call doubt about it. A new party can be, for instance, can be exclusively having saffron as its flag, for instance, no green in the flag. That itself will give, symbolically, it will give a message. The party can also, for instance, issues like uniform civil code, issues like temple control of by government. There are innumerable number of issues in which if you are in power, it's not very easy for you to take a stand. As I told you, the power has got its own limitations in India because it is not something which any party can exercise or anything. As I told you, there is a basic structure of the constitution protected by the Supreme Court. So the whims and fancies of the judges, Supreme Court collegium appoints its own judges. It's a swayambhu. It's not appointed by the government or anything. So they can decide that what you have done is against the basic structure. And bureaucracy can, in India it's very famous for sabotaging things if they want to. There is a huge what is loosely called the ecosystem. The other point is economy. Economy and finance, if you take it, is hanging as a loose limbo. It's not integrated into the Hindu framework. That's very, very important. And many of the people, you can see they are all from the multinational banks or various other organizations who are advising on economy, or who are not only advising, who are also spokesperson for the party. What is their qualification? They have been in international banks and this and that and everything. So economy is another limbo which is extremely important to understand. And the other Hindu party can take certain economic causes and fight. Otherwise, what are you doing now? You are giving that space to the anarchist forces. If the price rise is significant and if the unemployment is significant, it is going to be exploited by these anarchist forces. Actually, it should be exploited by another Hindu party, and it should be capable of asking questions and collecting. So it's not going to be considered as the division of Hindu votes. Let's be very clear about it. Because to start with, all Hindus don't vote for BJP. Let's be very, very clear about it. Unless we assume. And we also, if we assume that all Hindus are going to vote for BJP, is also going to be not correct. As long as there are regional, linguistic and other aspirations. So the new Hindu party can cater to some linguistic aspirations. Nothing wrong about it. Or it can cater to some regional aspiration. For instance, it can predominantly represent the southern part of the country, or predominantly represent the eastern part of the country. Certain linguistic groups also it can accommodate within itself. Nothing wrong. And according to me, in India we can have more than one another Hindu party, not necessarily one. We can have, the basic idea I want to say is occupy all type of opposition spaces. Any type of development opposing the government has to be done, but by an Hindu party. That's the idea behind it. Not by Trinamool, not by RJD and others. Another Hindu party, but it can express or enunciate the aspirations of Biharis. Nothing wrong about it. After all Biharis are also Hindus. So there is no difficulty about it. So this is what I feel. The opposition space has to be clearly understood, and that should not be given away to anarchist and Naxalite and others. That is the most dangerous thing I am foreseeing in the context of the decline of the mainline parties. And many of the regional parties are jumping into anarchist lines, like Farooq Abdullah, recently made a statement, another thing, or the DMK in the south. So many of the regional parties are going berserk sometimes. So we need to develop. For instance, in Tamil Nadu, not many people know, there is a small outfit called Hindu Makkal Kachi. It clearly says non-Hindus cannot be members in that party. Anyhow, when they go to contest election, or EC can not recognize them, because that is again the spirit of the constitution. For instance, even the Muslim League and the OASI's AAM, on paper at least, they say anybody can be but in practice they don't allow anyone to be a member. But anyhow, this Hindu Makkal Kachi is very interesting. It clearly says non-Hindus cannot become members of our outfit. As of now, EC may take a different decision or something. Point I want to make is, an accommodating BJP is quite okay. In the current context, they would like to have the inorganic expansion, but that has got its own limitations. So a less accommodative type of a party can emerge, and it can take positions which are not necessarily desirable for the current dispensation in bureaucracy or court or anything. It's quite possible. Now, one can always argue that why can't it be done within BJP? Unfortunately, in the last few years, we are seeing a huge amount of hero worship has started in the party. There is a big group of called, they themselves proudly call themselves as Bhakt of the Prime Minister, and anyone talking against any policies of the government immediately is treated as anti-Indian, anti-Hindu, unpatriotic, and all sorts of rubbish. And this is a very large group. Actually, it's not a very desirable thing to have so much amount, because Bhakta automatically implies devotion, and it is devotion without any questioning. And if you fail to question the leaders, then automatically you lose your what one can call balance. You become, some sort of a, what you may loosely call the ardent fan or anything like that. You lose your, so this is something which is not desirable actually. So within the party, one can always say, why don't they, it's practically now it's very difficult within the party to have any amount of dissent or that type of a thing, because of this hero worship of leaders. It's good to have some amount of respect for leaders, but beyond a point when it is carried out, as in the case of Indira Gandhi, one remembers actually, it's not a very acceptable thing. So we can accommodate a large number of Hindu parties, and all of them need not necessarily have identical views in the area of economics or in the area of social issues. For instance, one Hindu party may be for reforms in the system, in the social system, another one may not agree with that at all, any type of reforms. One may say that the marriage age can be increased to 22, 23 for women. Another will say nothing doing, it has to be where it is. So on social issues, economic issues, there can be divergence among these, because there is no well-defined Hindu parameters for these things. But on religious issues, we have to be very cautious, very clear that all of them swear by the acceptance of Sanatana Dharma and the traditions and culture. For that only, the RSS would be a very important tool in order to promote this idea and create new Hindu parties, all of them having their blessings.
Well,
Sorry.
that's a good suggestion, and we have to wait and see. First of all, we need to have a pan India Hindu party, or Sanatani party. We can say Sanatana Sanstha or something like that. Um, what do you think will be the time frame for that party to grow into a force to reckon with? 5 years, 10 years? Because remember, now with social media, if you catch the right cause, if you strike the right chord, getting yourself popularized across the country is not that hard.
No, it's not the time frame. See, if the RSS gives its blessings, then a large number of RSS cadres would be interested. It's an option available to you, either this or that. That is one. Second, the type of positions they take, it's very, very important. There are large number of people across the country who may have different type of views in, let me again stress the point, economic as well as on social issues. It's not necessarily, as far as religious issues are concerned, sacred issues, it is given that it has to be. So I don't think it's a matter of 2 3 years, not more than that actually, in the current context, because of the reach of the ideas and the reach of the thing. It's a very, very what you call, much faster, much and obviously it will create initially some amount of misgivings, particularly among those who are already in the largest Hindu party in India today. But they will slowly realize that these are not against them, these are only for a larger consolidation of forces to, most important, occupy opposition space. If we don't do that, we are going to give away the opposition space to all these riffraffs and dangerous forces. That's very, very important. And there is a need for opposition space in a democratic country, because there is unemployment, there is a need for looking at economic issues, there is inflation. A lot of these issues are there. You can't just brush it aside.
Thank you very much, Professor RV. And viewers, do not forget to subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.